I don't always have to do that dramatic pause. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Real Siblings It Ain't Easy, a real estate podcast that is altogether unique, unconventional, unusual, and seriously, it just ain't typical. I'm Eric, she's Donna, and we are the Real Siblings. We're both professional real estate agents with Keller Williams, working in the Southwest states of Arizona and Texas. And for the record, Donna is still recovering from surgery.
Has had more surgeries than you.
Did you even listen to my last episode? This podcast blends lifestyle and real estate as we work to communicate, educate, connect, and entertain our listeners. While the topics vary and the conversations always go many directions, we endeavor to provide our listeners with insights into our industry, better equipping them for their next real estate transaction.
Ooh, wow, that was so good, Eric.
Smooth.
Their next real estate transaction. So we're here today and we're going to talk a little bit about lifestyle as it relates to homes, which makes total sense since that's what our podcast is supposed to be about, right? And you and I were just talking about the fact that I just had this knee replacement, which you talked about in your last one where you did it by yourself, and that I live in a single story home, right? And I 1,500 square feet, easy to get around, 2-car garage. I haven't even unlocked the front gate for 2 weeks. Everybody knows my garage code. They come through the garage. But clearly that was not how we grew up, right?
No, we did not. We were talking about it as we got in here. It's like one story was not in our playbook.
No. And thinking about that, it makes me think about Lindsay, and it's like, I wonder how many were single story homes and how many were 2-story homes now that we think about it and we talk
well,
about
and even if it was a single story, you have a single story in Arizona, I have a single story in San Antonio. They don't have basements, but even if it was a single story in Ohio, it was still likely to have a basement of some sort, whether it was a utility kind of basement or something. There was a change in story somewhere.
Yeah, it might have, like ours on Main Street had the Reed family had the fuel oil tank down in the basement, right? That was our heating, and they would come and they would pump from the elevator into the fuel oil tank in the basement. I don't think they ever can even get those out of there. I think that the fuel oil tanks just die eventually if they use a different kind of, heating. But living here, and I think you and I have touched upon this in other episodes, we have such a senior population here. So a couple of things. One is my church has so many people who have had knee replacements and hip replacements that we just rotate the walkers, the canes, the potty boosters, like the shower seats. It's funny, not funny, right? But predominantly because we are older, boy, I hate saying that. There's a whole lot of surgeries and there's a whole lot of single story homes. So if people didn't start with that when they were in their 40s, by the time they're in their mid 60s going on 70s, they might be looking for that.
Yeah, but okay, so when you bought your townhome, did you make a conscious decision to look for a single story, or was it location, size, price? Or was it actually an intent to say single story?
It was all of those things, but and partly that's because I'd already been selling for a number of years. So this is my 18th or 19th year, and I bought my house 10 years ago. So I'd already been seeing and hearing some of the questions and the things that people want. For instance, I'll take a 2-story as long as there is a downstairs master suite with a bathroom, right? Like then the other stuff can be upstairs, but I always have a place downstairs. For me, honestly, Eric, I was paying for storage for the boys. I was paying $80 to $100 a month to still have snowboards and Ninja Turtles and probably He-Man, Master of the Universe, in a storage. So I wanted a 2-car garage. And you've been here. I have a good size 2-car garage. My house was built in the 70s. So I not only have room for 2 cars, but I have room for shelves. And boy, some of the newer ones in subdivisions don't. So it was a variety. It was an agent who knew that I'd just been through a bankruptcy. She worked in my office. She had sold this home before. It had been a rental. And I had just reached my 3 years where I could buy again with an FHA loan.
Okay,
So,
but you had bought the house, and when you bought the townhome,
mhm.
you had not had any kind of surgical issues at that point, right? So that
Nothing,
was not part of your thought process going, oh my gosh, this body's going to break down and I'm going to need a
right,
single story.
right. As a matter of fact, after the roof damage and everything that I had, my bathrooms had to be remodeled. We took out all those supports. They're in a box in the garage. Now, do you know how it should be? They should be back in my flipping bathroom so that I have something to hold on to. There's one outside the front door coming in the house, but not not one like in my bathrooms. And that was scary because I have a stool in the shower. It's just a 2-inch step down, easy peasy. But after surgery, it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. You're afraid of every little thing. What if I slip and fall in my shower? Living alone, what if the stool moves? that kind of thing.
Right. And I don't know about you. You have your bathrooms both are still tub shower combos, right?
Actually, no, the guest one, which is the one I'm using, is only a shower.
Okay. So you don't have to step over. I know that for us,
Yeah.
when I had mine done, I still had everything was a tub shower combo. And I say that we've always had a walk-in shower in my bathroom. However,
Right.
it's so small you couldn't put a shower chair or get any kind of assistance because it had glass doors and that sort of thing.
Oh.
So I had to go to our guest room in order to be able to get in. And I'll tell you what, trying to get my leg up and over
Is
the
that
edge
the
of the
bathroom?
shower.
Is that the one that I would have used when I was there?
That was it. That was the guest room that you would have used, the bright.
And so now here we are at the next stage of life. Tell our listeners what you're doing.
And we are getting ready to move my 83-year-old mother-in-law, Elsie, into the house. And as a result, that is now just a low step, 3-inch edge shower only to make it easy to accommodate her, because at 83, here we are, I'm 58, you're 65, and we're talking about getting in and out of. Add 20 plus more years onto that and going, oh my gosh, what do you do? So
yeah.
It's a bathroom remodel.
And it's interesting, Eric, because we're a tall family. And when my bathrooms were remodeled, I do want a bathtub, and my primary bath is a tub shower combo. And I love sitting in the tub, reading books, that kind of thing. Well, when my friend was staying here the first week to take care of me, Beth, she's substantially shorter than me, probably 6 inches. And she told me,
wow,
how tall my tub was. And I was like, she goes, Donna, getting in that tub to take a shower is like a big deal. She goes, and it's slippery. So I was like, oh crap, I need to get one of those rubbery, spongy things.
Yeah, one of those rubber mats that's going to make it so you can't slip. And
never occurred to me. And yet I look at things the other way. I went out for the first time the other night to an Advent Bible study, and the owners are 86 and 85. I asked to use the bathroom. They asked me if I wanted to use theirs because they keep the booster there. And I was like, no, I can use the regular one. Forgetting that in many homes, the original toilets are super low to the floor. Not as bad as the elementary school in Lindsay, which was,
right.
but I told the Bible study group, this is not going to be good if I can't get out of there and somebody has to help me come get dressed. So many things we don't think about. Are you putting supports in the bathroom there for Elsie and stuff?
Oh yeah, there's still a support along the 3-inch step as a step in, and there's a bar on the wall side of the unit too. So that there's even a grab bar just to step over that little 3-inch lip, and there's a grab bar on the other side of the wall.
Yeah. So as we think through our homes that we lived in, so first was Main Street, and as you recall, you barely lived there. So we had one bathroom that was a tub. There was no shower. Then Dad added on whatever.
Yeah,
he
I
did
know.
to
That's
space at
the
bed.
mystery shower that I don't remember.
Yeah, yeah. He put one in, and so we had a shower. But it never occurred to me for all these years that, yeah, I laid in the tub and washed my hair in the tub, that kind of thing. Then we moved to Lynn Street, and one bathroom, right?
One bathroom.
Same, yep, tub shower combination until Dad. Well, there was that one that we called.
The half bath upstairs that was barely big enough to get into.
Yeah, and I think he put that for Grandpa when Grandpa was coming and going and couldn't go up and down the stairs a lot.
Really? I figured it was thinking that with all of us in the bigger house,
yeah,
everybody downstairs, because in the Main Street house, they were directly adjacent to the bathroom.
Yes.
Not like the new house or the big 1868 house that we've talked about so many times, where everybody was upstairs, down the stairs, through first living room, through second living room, into the kitchen, into the bathroom.
And it was freaking freezing.
Right? At certain times of the year, it was freaking freezing.
And then we had the one I called the throne that was like, I don't know if there was there when we moved in, or if Dad put it there.
No, I think Dad added that mudroom. I think that's the old toilet that he pulled out of the bathroom when they renovated it and put in the cultured marble.
And that was so
that was added
swimming
back
pool.
there.
Yeah, that was it. So anyway, so then that was number 2 for us. And then Gil and I bought on Walnut Street, and that one had just one bath and bedrooms upstairs. Gil and I were downstairs.
But you also had the time that you were renting both units. Yeah, the apartment above the ballet studio where Caleb got his start.
That's true. We had to go up a bunch of stairs. Yeah.
The house that you rented across from the football stadium in Fremont.
Yep.
Stairs up and stairs down.
That had stairs. I'm trying to think where the bathroom was.
You had stairs into the basement. You had stairs to the upstairs. You had a couple of stairs to get up into the kitchen, just because it was that little bit of a split level kind of thing where you came in from the driveway, went up a couple of stairs, down a couple of stairs.
You just don't think about it when you're younger. You just do it. We grew up with stairs. We slid down the stairs. We jumped down the stairs. We did all those things. Didn't think anything of it. And the whole ensuite and everybody needs their own, like, right. I just think about that now. So you're right. So then we rented those 2. Then, and then the house on Walnut, which was Gil's, and my bedroom was so small, and it was right off of that. And the boys were upstairs. And then when we moved to 134 North Main, that was the tri-level.
So you had stairs down.
Yeah, that had the half bath down from where you could come in from the swimming pool when folks lived there. Then it had a half bath on the middle level off the kitchen, but both of the tub shower combos were upstairs. Yeah.
Upstairs, which I don't even feel like was upstairs, because at that point, with the way that thing was so split level, that was like 8 stairs, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of stairs, but it was if you started outside and you came in and down and up, and like Harry Potter world with all. And
now we're worried about a 1-inch threshold.
You're right. My walker the other day caught on the little one in my bathroom, and I'm like, if I trip over a freaking 1-inch. It's crazy. Well, the other thing that you and I talked about a little bit as we were discussing this was when Mom got sick and we were living on Lynn Street. They were living on Lynn Street. None of us were there anymore. But the dining room became the place for her bed, because there were no downstairs beds, and that was the last 6 months of her life anyway.
Right.
She lived
she was in the dining room.
Yep. And I don't know where the table went. What did Dad do?
And I don't, that's another one of those things. I don't think there was ever any thought given, obviously, in 72 that's where you would be in 95. When Dad made the original offer in 72, to go, oh, you know what? At some point, there's going to be a hospital bed in here. That was not part of the glitter ceiling and the flocked wallpaper and the cabinet under the stairs and everything else that went with that room.
Remember them blowing the glitter into the dining room?
Mom got to go to bed at night and look up at the glittery ceiling that was added to add some. All right, so while we're talking, who are those guys behind you? You put a picture up.
Oh, okay, yes. I had to put this Christmas pick up. So part of life changes, part of knee replacement. I wanted some Christmas stuff. I'm sitting in my house doing primarily nothing except this kind of thing and going to physical therapy. And I've been mentoring these two young men. So if you're looking at the pictures, Eric is the shorter guy. I've been working with him for about a year, and Jalen is a newer agent. He's former Air Force. And they were hanging my Christmas lights. And first of all, I told them they were like, who did I tell them they were like?
Did you tell them they're going to be broadcast all over? Because
No. But anyway, I was like, you're like Laurel and Hardy or somebody like that. And they had no idea who I was talking about because they're 26 and 29. And the other day when they were over, I said, you're like my next two children, albeit from various fathers, clearly looking at. And Jalen, I told him I asked him to put the Christmas one on. What's super funny.
Yeah, Jalen's in the red and green plaid.
That's right. And Eric has one on that my friend got me in Porto in Portugal. It wasn't as festive, but I had asked them to come help me clean the house. And so Eric was sweeping with the broom and Jalen was vacuuming. And they both have girlfriends that I know. And they're like, we don't want our girlfriends to see this. We don't want them to know that we do this work for you. And I'm like, oh, they're going to know. So they're going to go help with another listing where there's a remodel going on, and they're going to be emptying some old tile out of a shower that's being destroyed. And, all of that is to say that,
to put in a walk-in shower.
Yeah, probably. Well, it already was. It was just really poorly. That's a whole other thing. Yeah. Way more cha-ching, cha-ching, dollars. But anyway.
So there's no question that life changes impact our decision. What was not even a thought for years, decades, now suddenly would be, if you needed to look at a new place, wouldn't even consider a staircase, right?
That is right for me. Now, what's interesting, and I can't remember if you and I had this conversation, Arizona brings so many winter visitors who are here to ride bikes and hike and super, super active outdoorsy people. So some people my age who haven't had a bunch of joints replaced and are in really good condition, they, especially single women, they want the bedroom upstairs because they feel safer. So if, and that I probably shouldn't broadcast this to the world. I don't live in fear. I don't live in fear of people coming and going. A whole lot of people know my garage code. I trust people. Right. And so the whole idea that I would search for an upstairs bedroom because it would make me feel safer was fascinating. And yet I've had a couple of those this last year who absolutely want to be upstairs because if there's going to be a break-in, first of all, you have more time because you can potentially hear something. And if you're in condos or apartments, you're less of a target. And that was, I don't know if you feel that, where you are also or whatever, but it's interesting.
No, I don't think about it at all. For me, I could still leave the house and leave everything wide open and unlocked because even if I had an alarm system, even if somebody decided to break in, by the time the sheriff or the precinct 1 constables could get out here to the house, if an alarm went off, they could make off with whatever they wanted.
They could take the whole house on a trailer.
They just could. But my other half, who was raised in a very, very different world environment, all kinds of military bases, as her dad was Coast Guard and around the country. And it just was a different lifestyle. I mean, I remember the first time we went to visit the house, Dad and Lonnie had moved already to Findlay and they were getting ready to sell the house. And we went by, it's like, Dad's just like, oh, it'll be open. Just stop in. And here he is, moved out, another place, doors wide open. He goes, it's going to be open. But then taking this back to the episode I did last, where I talked about lifestyle.
Yeah.
And then briefly mentioned what's the difference between a need and a want. And at this point, the needs are very, very different than what they were 21 years ago when I moved in here. I knew I was getting the single story home because I was what I was choosing to build, but it was not going, oh my gosh, I need to have a staircase and a basement and I need this.
Yeah.
The 2 steps I have going down to my front, 2 steps to go back up from the driveway just because of the slope. Even that right now, the last time I fell because of my crazy knee, the steps were a little bit wet. I didn't hit the step solid. It slid, my foot slid off the step and down I went on the front stairs.
The limestone ones out front that you made?
No, just the wood one, the wood step, those 2 wood steps. There's that one step to step onto. I didn't hit it quite right. I was feeling really good. Hadn't had any problems in quite a while. Stepped on it, slipped, boom, down I went onto my stoop and banged stuff and dropped, and yeah, it was beautiful. And of course, Jeannie's like, "Oh my gosh, you're big! You fall so hard. You don't do anything halfway."
Gracefully hit the ground.
Yeah, there's not even enough space for someone my size to roll over and go, "Ta-da! I meant to do that."
To stand up like you just completed the gymnastics with your arms in the air. I wonder, for those of us, we know that we have some of the people from Lindsay that listen to this, that are pretty reliable. And I know some of the farmhouses that I visited and the little entrances where you could go down to the basement, the hang coats, up to the kitchen or whatever. But it makes me wonder how many of our friends who have lived in the houses for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years have created those downstairs, have added on, created the bathrooms, changed up. In a really old house, might have been a formal dining into a bedroom,
Right.
that kind of thing. Yeah, it's an interesting thought process about what we do, why we do it. So you told me that before this, you were on a historic podcast, Zoom call, something.
Yeah, no, I was on a Zoom call with the Historic Districts Coalition steering team and the city of San Antonio. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're on that kind of a thing, and I know you like the historic homes, and you put a lot of time and energy into that and stuff. So if you're going to redo a historic home, one of the ones down near the Alamo, wherever, I don't know the neighborhoods well enough. If there was one bathroom, are people adding second ones?
Yes, and that's part of getting your certificate of appropriateness, which is issued through the Office of Historic Preservation, which you have to get before you draw your permits to make the construction.
Wow.
And if there's going to be an addition onto the existing structure, it's interesting. You go, well, we want it to blend as much as possible. And no, they want it to be distinctively different. So that it's, even if it's the exact same material, a wood exterior, and you're putting new wood exterior on, it needs to be offset by a foot so you can distinguish between the new and the old.
Wow.
The window styles, things like that have to be done. But yes, that was actually one of the things they were just finishing up when I had to jump off the call so we could do this, about the Office of Historic Preservation looks a lot at the exterior of the building and what it looks like on the outside. But they know there's a lot of unpermitted demolition and renovation going on the inside of the house.
Right.
And what does that look like? And how does that help really maintain the structure if all we did was keep a wood exterior with spindled front porch in the King William district, for example? Are we losing more of the integrity of the house by allowing whatever to go on behind the scenes? And that would include that bathroom and the kitchen upgrades and demolitioning walls and everything else.
Do you have areas, historic districts that offer tax savings if you keep you keep the front windows that you see from the street into the original rollouts and things like that?
Yes. And actually, if you get the certificate of appropriateness, you can get up to 10 years. And that has actually become an issue in past because flippers will come in and get their certificate and then not follow it. And then the subsequent buyer who thinks they're getting the tax incentive doesn't, because the previous owner who did the renovations didn't follow and meet. And it's brought lawyers into the meetings. And we as real estate agents, I've seen them have to come in and testify
Yeah.
Without it being a court, but to provide evidence and discussion and what had gone on, and they didn't know, and their job is this, and
Yeah.
it becomes a big deal.
I just have to tell you that calling something a certificate of appropriateness just cracks me up, because I feel like there's a whole lot of people in the world that could use a certificate. I'm like, we're talking about the house, right? Not about how we behave.
So I guess to our listeners, have your needs and your wants changed in what you find in a house? If you're making the change right now, aside from, say, upsizing, if you have a growing family, or downsizing with a shrinking family, has that next part of it gone into it, and what your options are?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And for us, Eric, in the subdivisions, where there's a certain part of town where a third has to remain green space. So what that means is the houses are closer together, so that we can keep the green space, which means that there's more 2 stories than there used to be here.
Interesting. Part of that new construction. So, well, I think we probably need to wrap this up. We probably need to say, since this will be the December 16th, and by the time the next episode comes out, we will be post-Christmas. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. We're in the middle of Hanukkah. I think it's day 4 already for Hanukkah. Kwanzaa next week. So however you choose to celebrate the holidays, Merry Christmas from this Santa.
Yeah. I'm not Santa. I'm just a really tired old person right now.
And Rudolph up there.
Yeah, you do have Rudolph. All I have is the plaid apron on the kid.
Plaid apron on the kid. He's gonna love that description too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize in advance, or not even tell him I did this. I don't know.
All right. Well, we said we were going to try to wrap this up. Thank you so much for listening, joining us again today. I'm Eric. She's Donna. We are both realtors. And Donna is in Tucson, Arizona with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. I am with Keller Williams Heritage in San Antonio, Texas, in the Texas Hill Country. If you need real estate services in either one of those areas, please reach out. Find us. Our contact information will be in the show notes for this episode. If you're looking for a real estate agent around the country, again, please reach out to us. Let us make that connection, open the doors, introduce, so you're not going in to a new area flying blind, but you've got somebody who's already in your corner.
Yep. Like our little
What
brother.
else do I need to say? I'm not looking at it. I lost my script.
I know, but you just did this for Ken, who's moving back to Illinois. So, right?
That's right. Yeah, back to Illinois, which he's never lived in, but back because it's up to the Midwest, right?
And because Mom grew up in Illinois, so it feels very cyclical to me in a weird way. Whatever.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
Okay. You're Eric.
So, thanks again. I'm Eric.
I'm Donna.
And we are Real Siblings.
Siblings. What did you say? Okay, one more time. Do it again.
And we are Real
Siblings.
Siblings.
All right.
Stop. Cut.